be discussing my first, little dive into frieren, which I used to misspell a lot. I used to spell it Erien, but it seems I was wrong. I think looked at somebody's spelling on Twitter. They misspelt it, and I, I just, I just thought that was the correct way to spell it, but now I know that I'm wrong. Or maybe I'm right, I don't know. But so far, my first, reaction to this, well, I don't understand. I've only read so far, I think, 7 chapters or six. Maybe I got to the little page for the seventh, the little cover page for the seventh, but I don't remember. I got to the part where they were watching the sunrise, I believe, in the water. I don't understand what's so conservative about this. There could be, some sense that because Frieren is very sentimental, struggles to attachment, um, but she is emotional, but it seems her emotions doesn't really mean she's entangled with it, You know what I mean? You know what the almost like a sense of belonging. What is it called? You know, shoot. She doesn't seem to be clingy. There we go. Clingy to things she cares about. And when those things go away, she realizes that she needs it or that she valued it. Well, that's so far my impression. You know, uh, this seems to be a very sentimental manga so far. Um, this seems to be a little bit slow. I don't really like characters who are not emotional. That's I don't really care about that. But not expressful. There we go. So I don't know. To me, her being a little shun doesn't makes the story for me a little not stale because there's a lot of things happening in the manga, at least so far. There's a lot of things to keep track, mostly in trivia, but stuff like that. And the show can be a little bit silly. Frieren is a Sloven or whatever it's called. I mean, she's quite a little bit unkempt. She has the unemployment lifestyle. She has the unemployment lifestyle going on. She's just doing that one day and doing that the other day. She's like that meme where it's like a video of like the unemployed friend on a Wednesday, and there's them like at a beach or in a hurricane or something like that. That's what Freeman's vibes gets me. The unemployment, the neat lifestyle. She's not really a neat, but whatever. Yeah, here's a good reason of her expression. I think she's trying to rediscover. I don't know how old she is. Maybe she's young. I don't know. When I mean young, I mean in less than 100 years old or 200 years old. No, she definitely has to be over 100, 200 probably. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part where they reveal her age. Uh, yeah, the characters are delightful. None of them are rude. None of them have been, gross or stuff like that. Like, or cringe. like many shows or manga that I've read that unfortunately have been a lot of cringe. It doesn't seem infantile. Infantile. That's the best way to describe it. Emotionally infantile. You know, they whine for the sake of whining or stuff like that. Everything seems to be a little sentimental and a little bit heartfelt, or with some truth in it. I don't really understand what makes this right wing so far. The only thing that she has been conserving, I guess you could say, the statues, and she's conserving her memories. But I think it'd be funny. He said her conserving Kimmel's statue could be seen as like a Confederate polishing a bronze statue of another Confederate. But I don't think that's the case. That'd be a big stretch. So far, there has been like no political identity so far. So I don't really get it that it's a right wing show. So far, it doesn't seem to be. The only thing she has conserved, I would say, is two things. One, the environment with the little plants. These things, the flower beds. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Uh, it's not here. Where's the flower beds? Where's the flower beds, man? I don't see it, man. But you get it if you read the show, you understand why the flower beds are important, specifically to him, like to this statue where she put the little flower beds. That can be conserving environments, which is a left wing issue so far. She doesn't really have that many capitalistic needs or capitalistic incentives. She doesn't really seem to be chasing money, at least so far. I really like this page in specific. I think it was quite what was the word? It is sentimental, but I don't like repeating words, so I'm just gonna say a different word. But let me think about it. What's a different word that's sentimental? I would just say emotionally valuable, but that's not a good description of it. Yeah, when she's with people, she kind of gets, she kind of stuffs herself. What's it called? She kind of freezes and isn't really able to enjoy the moment because I said she's a Sloven or whatever. She's quite unkempt, quite you know, a ditz, I guess. She's the low cortisone. She's the low cortisone meme, basically. And there's she does have emotions, but they're far between, far and far between each other. What's another thing? This was also another aspect of Sentimental Valley. As you see, she can fly a little bit. It's another one. Oh, One of the technological aspects was the 80 years, I think this hasn't been passed since the Heroes Party. That a lot of technology has changed. And basically all the old demons are outdated. So all of their, technology is outdated right now. At least that's what it seems. The top tiers before don't stand a chance to the top tiers of now, basically. Oh, here she doesn't understand that. I think his name was Arrow, Ebro, Ichu, Ego, dwarf, basically. She didn't really notice he was old or whatever. For the day whenever we're back together. Everyone that seems to be nice. Um, this seems to be a very quaint show or nuance, but it does seem to be exploring uh, basically her emotions almost in ways that like how do I describe it? It's like a director's choice. Where's an image where he falls? Where is he? Where is he? Pass. Oh, there we go. This is the page. I really like this scene because it's her not showing her emotions in the panels. But here you could say that she made, a sad face or distraught face. And I really like that, like from a director's direction or an author's direction. I think that was very good. I liked it. Here's where people getting old. Yeah, I haven't really gone too far into this. It was just 7 chapters or 6. She looks super young here. I wonder how old she is in elephant years. Like, is she in her mid 20s? She like 15? I don't know. They call her girl, not women. So I don't know. And here she cries, you know, because she's not showing emotion. I don't really understand the problem so far. I'm not sure if she has a hard time expressing emotion or hard time digesting emotions, you know? Maybe she struggles to, digest emotions, and that's why she seems like she's frozen. And I could explain her, Sloven attitude so far. It's quite surprising that Fern hasn't, gone away from frieren. But so far, I do not understand what's so right wing about this. I struggle to say she's even politically affiliated so far. So far, the only thing that she has done that's, maybe somewhat political is is 3 things. Conserving the plant, uh, environmental protection of the plant that Himmel liked. That's one. That's a left wing value. Conserving the statue of Himmel. That was personal. So that's not even politically affiliated. And the other one would be the what's it called, the beach and the boats. You can argue that that was what that was right wing because it's culturally significant for that region. So far there's no sway in what which political affiliation she is. It doesn't seem she's very capitalist. Even though she does use capital, she's not interested in money. There's no comments of her of how money should be handled or stuff like that. There's nothing like that. So you can't make amends with that. Her strive for technology, there's no political affiliation with that. Her her liking of meticulous, small, strange magic that she collects, and you know, there's many things. Maybe she could say that she's just emotionally overwhelmed from living for so many years. But I think so far the show is the series is very cute. It's very new nuanced, very quaint. Quaint is the best description of the series so far. I like quaint mangas, but I don't know. Quaint mangas, the last quaint mangas have really disappointed me. What was the last two? No, well, except Spy X Families. I like Spy X Family, but oh my god, the last two was horrible. The Well, I hate Pun Pun. Don't even bring that up. I hate Pun Pun, and I hate what is it called? Uh, the one where the girl, is it called Omoyagiri or something like that? I don't even know. I don't even care about it. No, it's literally a meme how bad it is now. But maybe this is another series that I could watch that is like a Spy X Family, because this is a really silly show as well. Frieren seems to be a silly little show. I love the colors here. It looks like an old, cartoon. You know what I mean? Where they made really harsh colors, saturated. But why don't I know anything about humans more than this? I don't know. Yeah, I've only read like 7 or 6 chapters. Maybe I got to the chapter 7. Maybe I read said chapter 7. Uh, yeah, I don't see really any political affiliation so far. Oh, there was a. I don't know. Is supporting a monarch that is right wing, but do she hasn't made any comments of it. She doesn't think there's no reference for that. She was very defensive of a monarch in the first part, but she's so Sloven. Like, how do you make sense of that opinion? That was just a throwaway uh, of her being respectful to a monarch or having some sense of respect that Himmel and the dwarf didn't have. They were about to be executed. That is like that is more to the right wing ideology, you know, of protecting a monarchy. But then again, that's her job. So how much of it is that it's a monarch, and how much of it is that it's her job and her responsibility, basically? You know what I mean? So far, I haven't seen any, left or right wing political affiliation. Here was another, maybe you could say it's another political moment where she doesn't judge people by their appearance, and the manga makes it sure that you know Fern says, "Oh, I guess you can't judge people by their appearances." That's pretty left wing, but I don't know. It seems to be a sentimental value. Oh, and this is a good reference that I made another video about a person, like the story about the demons that eventually come up in the series. Uh, Here's like a little rebuttal. Not really. It's not as much as a rebuttal, but as a contrast. Here's a moment where it says, "Don't judge people by their appearances, um, or what they dress like, or what they choose to live their lives." On the contrast of the demons who are who created ploys to eat humans. So this is a big contrast of those two. Um, but right wingers struggle with this aspect a lot. So this could be a point to the left wing. And again with the flower bed, that was sentimental. This is the only moment where she didn't really have to do it. She had no responsibility to do it. It was just a value and a character trait that she has on herself. What she believes in, not what her heart is telling her to go to. But what's another point? And I think that's it. So I've only read like 7 or 6 chapters. I'm not sure. I'll check later. This is my first dive. So far, it's been best way to describe it is it almost feels like a what is it called? How those wallpapers, not wallpapers. Yeah, basically, um, those videos of wildlife or what's called. It feels like that, where you're watching a beautiful scenery and it's basically eye candy, um, and it feels nice. It feels natureful. There's a there's there's a good tempo going on in the series that I like. It just seems so graceful. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So far, it's a very graceful show. And then it's weird how quickly I'm becoming empathetic to frieren, to Himmel, not necessarily the priest or the dwarf, to Fern. So far, I like frieren and Fern. I like the characters. I think they're interesting. Not interesting, more like I like their character, their character traits. Uh, but that's about it. So I only could read 7 chapters so far. I'll come back hopefully later to make another one. Oh, also the eyes. The eyes are very peculiar in the show, and it is manga. I mean, see what I mean? They really take some, liberties with it. There's a range. There's a huge range on how eyes are drawn or faces, more like. I hope you could tell. This is a good moment to show it off. I also like that. It makes their faces not seem boring because everybody doesn't have the same face syndrome. Everybody looks unique. Yeah, it just seems like a little silly show. Uh, yeah, very graceful show. Graceful and quaint, I'll call it. And it's a bit silly as well. It's silly, not in a idiotic way, but in a silly, nuanced way. So far, I rate the first 7 chapters like mm, the story in itself, like the plot. I guess the plot will beat frieren. No, the plot is not necessarily the world around it. The world does not interest me, but I like frieren and like Fern, and I'll keep reading this just because of them. So bye. Oh, uh, I have videos that are not allowed to be on YouTube or Rumble for that matter, because Rumble doesn't allow you to be, critical to other people on the platform that cause problems. And I don't really want to get banned off of Rumble. Like, that'd just be too exhausting. So I put him on BitChute. Is a Kashmir underscore BitChute with a capital K and um and a lowercase b for BitChute. But that's it. Bye. Oh, also my Twitter. My Twitter is also Kashmir. It should be in my channel's description.